give them 1 day's plateful, 1 day's menu. And you're going to know how much that is, because you're going to step it off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you're, okay, today I gave them 50 square yards. Tomorrow when you come out, ooh, I didn't give them quite enough. They act a little bit unhappy. They grazed it too hard. How are you going to know to give them 10% more if you don't know what you gave them yesterday? All right? So this is one of the things that we drill into our interns and apprentices. If you're moving cows and I come and ask you, how many cow equivalents do you have? So we move everything into a cow equivalent. We've got a mixed herd. It all comes to a constant of animal. If you've got cows, calves, little calves, sheep, whatever, all in a mixed group, you come up with a common. Holistic management usually uses animal units. We like cow days because it's easier to say than animal units. That's like 4 syllables. Cow days is 2 syllables. So, and we're in cows, so we use now. My grandson's now growing sheep, so I guess we're gonna have to start talking about sheep days. But sheep days is still just 2 syllables. So that's good. But the point is that you know the number that you have, and you are actually creating a definite amount. So that you know, okay, today they got 30 cow days per acre, 40 cow days per acre. A cow day is what 1 cow will eat in 1 day, all right? That's how you develop the grazer's eye to be able to make the adjustments tomorrow based on whether you think they got too much or not enough. And over time, you develop a great skill in being able to walk onto a spot and say, this is 50 cow day grass, 20 cow day grass, 100 cow day grass. If my herd is 50 cow equivalents and I have 25 cow day grass, how many acres am I going to give them? 2. Thank you. Boy, you guys are sharp. All right. If I have 500 cow equivalents and I have 50 cow day grass, how many acres am I going to give them? 10. Wow. Okay, can't fool you guys. But the way you do it is to literally go out 1, 2, 3, 4. Look, if I've got a field that's 100 yards wide, or meters, an acre is roughly 5,000 square yards. It's a little big, but 5,000 is easier than 4,862. So to do in your head. So 5,000 square yards, and I've got a field that's 200 yards wide, side to side. And I decide the cows need 4 acres. How many square yards is that going to be? 4 times 5, 20,000. I'm 200 yards wide. So how far am I going to step out before I put up the cross fence? Thank you, 100. Man, you guys are sharp. I'm not used to this. They don't do this in the U.S. They just sit there. All right. Are you with me? I'm going to step out 100, so I'm going to count them off. 1, 2, and we have a big long tape. You can go down to their hardware store, get a great big measuring tape, stretch it out, and practice till you can step this off accurately. Okay? Then I'm going to go out there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm toting my stakes and my electric fence. 10. 11, 12, I'm not going to step off all 100 anyway. 98, 99, 100. Okay? I hook up my roll, and I start my stakes, and I go right out across here, and I make my paddock. Are you with me? And by knowing what I've got every day, then I can make those adjustments every day. So every day we're making and unmaking paddocks to be able to put the cows where they're supposed to be. All right? We stockpile forage for drought and for winter. Here we are with 100 cows. You ready for this? 100 cows on a quarter of an acre. That's a paddock just a little bigger than this room. Okay? 100 cows. That's what they look like. There it is the day before they go in, over here. There it is 24 hours later, same spot. Here you can't walk through it. There, mouse has to carry lunch to get through it. Right? So the pruner, the tool of this is the cow. That's what 100 cows on a quarter acre look like. Okay? Just to drive it home, this is Cape buffalo and lions in Botswana, Africa. Here's cows and electric fence in Swamp, Virginia. You see the biomimicry? And that's what builds soil, okay? That's what builds soil. Here we are in February, right now, with 80 cows on half an acre a day. You see the snow hanging over there on the side. Here we are in the late summer, late August, 350 on 2 acres a day, okay? We make hay. We have a neighbor come in with a big machine. We don't want to own that machine. There's our machine. That's what we own, but he owns a big baler. Make big squares. There we are getting ready for a paddock shift. Okay? So we're rolling up the crop. See, here's where they were. See, this looked just like this yesterday. We're rolling this up. They pouring. Isn't that not the coolest thing in the world? There's nothing like moving 700 head into a new paddock. So it's adrenaline rush, trust me. But that's what 350 on 2 acres look like, okay? And I hope you can appreciate. See, this looks wild, doesn't it? It looks like wildebeest on the Serengeti. It looks like that. You see, when you look at the migratory herds, they exhibit 3 principles. One is they're always moving; they don't stay in the same spot. They're always mobbed up for predator protection, and they're mowing. Moving, mobbing, mowing. Moving, mobbing, mowing. Can you say it with me? Moving, mobbing, mowing. All right. That's the principle. All right. And as we duplicate that, we see tremendous increase. Now, water becomes this. You're going to move around. What are you going to do about water? Well, we don't want them like this. You know, they're not potty trained. You know, they don't want them peeing out their back end and drinking in the front end. No wonder they get grubs. And so we put water in a pipe and deliver it in portable tanks, okay, with full flow valves. Very, very simple systems. This is a watering system for 700 head, okay? 700-gallon ballast up on top with full flow valves. You can get 16 around there at one time. You need to be able to get at least 2% of your animals around a watering spot at one time. So if you're running 30 head, you need to be able to get 0.6. Probably need to do better than 0.6. Anyway, you don't need a large tank. You know, by putting them in these small packs like this, they don't all come to water at one time. So you can get by with a lot less, you know, water linear surface area because they're never more than, you know, just a few hundred yards away from water. Okay. Portable shade tree. This is a nursery shade cloth. You know, for shelter. There's been a lot of research showing that in the summertime, growing calves will gain up to 0.8 pounds a day. 0.8 pounds. I'm sorry, I'm giving you pounds. You have to do your kilogram conversions later, okay? But 0.8 pounds is a lot. It's like 0.5 kilograms. You know, 0.3. Be like 0.3 kilograms, okay? That's a lot, all right? That they'll gain if they have shade. But we don't want them to do all their manure under in an incubation spot. So we have portable shade using nursery shade cloth. These are some new ones that we built. They're very cool. Kind of the new prototype. We can hook them together. These are on hay wagons. And we can hook 4 of them together and have a big enough portable shade for 250 head. You can put this out on your brambly areas, on low areas, and our experience has been that these give a 5-year fertility residual. You can see these spots for 5 years. That's how powerful you get. You get the impact, you get the manure, urine, and the shade cloth protects the urine from evaporation. The urine is what has all the nutrients in it. So you know, it's quite neat. Now, you know, the next step would be for some sharp person to invent a simple little solar-powered electric moving deal that you can just leave parked out there, and from your home, radio activated, you just push a button and it, you know, and moves it about 3 times a day, cover 3 times as much ground, you know, and all that. So, you know, those kind of things are coming. But these are very, very simple pieces of infrastructure that work. Again, the aha is that we're able to make tinker toy wood structures with nursery shade cloth. That's the technology that enables us to do this. Water becomes an issue. What are we going to do? So we built a lot of ponds, and we gravity feed water. So we have a network of 5 miles of water line, gravity feeding, that gives us 80 psi water over the whole farm. We can use it for irrigation as well, and that gives us green material in the summer during a drought. We are now using the New Zealand K-line system. We love it, and so we are building ponds as fast as we can afford to build them, and our goal is to be able to irrigate the entire farm with 6 to 12 inches of water anytime we want to. I mean, you never get as much sun as you do in the middle of the summer in a drought, and you can't leverage it. You can't capitalize it. If it gets that dry, you don't get anything. So we don't believe in pumping from a river or pumping from an aquifer. That's the commons. But if we build a pond to trap water on high ground, that actually builds the commons. One of our benchmarks of truth is that everything that we do has to actually add to the commons. If what we do depletes the commons, it's not truth. It's rape, okay? It's exploitation. So what we want to be able to do is add to the commons. So by building ponds, permaculture style, on high ground, it actually hydrates the landscape and helps the springs to run, the base flow to run, evaporation, all the cool things that happen there. Okay, the cows are dropping a cow pie, which is an incubator for pathogens and parasites. So behind them we run the chickens. Again, the egret on the rhino's nose. Chickens follow the cows. With egg-mobiles. So these are the egg-mobiles. There's 800 chickens in there. They're ranging out. These can be in all shapes and sizes. These are some smaller ones on some rental farms where we have, smaller gates, where we just run 500 in a group. But the point is that the chickens spread out across the pasture. They eat the fly larvae out of the cow patties. Now, they have pop doors here to go in at night. So when we move them, every day or two, and you just drop the doors at night, and they go. They do carry their own feed. The water, I want you to notice the air hose here, not water hose, it's air hose. You can get almost 150 meters of air hose on one of these garden hose reels. So it's very light, and you can get it out there to your trunk lines and get water to them. The water, of course, is a float valve in this. Little. Doesn't help you if I should. In this little float valve, little float valve in a water trough. Okay, you're ready to go. So that's the way it works. It's got a slatted floor, so the chickens, the manure goes out onto the ground. Nest boxes around the sides. All right, and now we don't need that many birds to do the pasture sanitation behind the cows. Essentially, an acre will produce as much insect material as it does animal, okay? And so we're turning all those crickets and grasshoppers and bugs and grubs into eggs. And by the way, this does not diminish manure dung beetles. It does not diminish them. Our dung beetles have continued to proliferate more and more and more and more aggressively even with this. So the fact is the chickens don't get everyone, the dung beetles don't get everyone, and so they actually help each other in the field. So there's the way the cow pads look. And of course that's new. In a minute you won't be able to even find the cow pads. So you don't have those green spots around the pasture, you get these things spread out. So the chickens are instrumental in the fertility and the sanitation program, okay? And we're putting away eggs there. The point is, which would you rather live next to? We think that good farming should be aesthetically and aromatically, sensually romantic. If it stinks or looks ugly, it's probably not good farming. Okay, the chickens like it. All right, now another whole different system. The egg-mobiles are sanitation for the cows. The eggs are a byproduct, but they have some liabilities. Some of the liabilities and I won't go into this in a lot more detail on the webinars that I know some of you have signed up for. Okay, don't have time here today to go through into every little detail here, but I'll have a lot more time in the webinar to concentrate just on this. But the point is here that the egg-mobiles have a higher predation incident because those are totally free range. Sometimes the chickens just go into the woods and just